Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to set up your scene and light it up to get a similar result to this. If you are new to the channel, kindly click on the subscribe button and turn on your notification so you can be notified when I drop more amazing content. Without wasting much of our time, let's get to it. Hello guys, so welcome. Now that we're here, we want to start lighting up our scene. As you can see, the scene is currently very dark and is not looking exactly how we want it to look. So we are going to be working on creating this and giving it the best lighting possible by working on both the word lighting and also using aerial lights. To get started, the first thing we want to do is to add our camera. So Shift A and then go to camera, right? Let's go to the side and GY to move the camera. Yeah, you can come to this side and tap on O, numpad O, to see what you're looking at in your camera, right? So we can select this and GY again to move it back to where you want it to be, right? So I want you I want the camera to be angled up a little bit. So we can do R, rotate on the X axis, right? Slightly up, just like that. And then you can move it G, Z on the Z axis. And perfect. That is exactly what you want. Now, the next thing we want to do is add a backdrop, right? So I'm going to go out of this shader right now so we can work a little bit smoothly. So to add a backdrop, we are going to go again, Shift A, go to Mesh, select Plane, and GZ, move the plane on the Z axis, S to scale, right? Now that we have scaled this, we need to go into Edit mode, select 2 for the edge mode, and E to extrude on the Z axis, right? Now that we have done that, quite, it's looking like what we are going for right now. You want to also select this edge again because this edge is quite sharp right now and it's not looking very good. We want to smooth that out, to bevel it. So we want to bevel that by tapping Ctrl B and then scrolling with your mouse to smooth out the bevel. Now that I have done that, you see we have a very smooth transition. But if you look here, you'll notice that these edges are actually showing. They are not as smooth. So to fix that, tap out of edit mode and right click and select shade smooth. And as you can see, this is looking smooth already. That has fixed that. Now that we have our camera all set up, we now want to go into the next phase, which is quite important, which is our world lighting. Let's move this up, come here and go to our shader editor. As you can see, currently we have a very basic shading, a very basic setup that allows you to, do simple lighting, just like changing this to white, right? But you notice that when you do this, you don't really have a lot of information or a lot of stuff happening with the character. I like I like to go for something bright for the world, but I also like to see a little bit of information like reflections and stuff on my character. So to fix that up, we are going to do a little bit of we're going to do a little bit of setup right here. So let's close this. Let's cut this and you see that it's dark now. We want to delete this and then follow this simple setup I'm going to be doing right here. Um, we know for a fact that to work with HDRIs and environment, we need our environment texture, right? So right now we want to add in the following nodes. Adding a texture coordinate, adding a texture coordinate, then adding a texture map, um also adding mapping, right? And now that we have added those two, we want to plug in the generated into a vector and then vector into vector. Move this over here a little bit to give space, right? Then move this over here. Now that I've done that, let's see. Okay, that's good. Now I want to bring in some other nodes. Let's add in a light path. Oh, before I move forward, I need to explain what this setup actually helps us to do. So with this setup, having this on our in our setup actually helps us to control whatever we have going on in this node. So basically, we can control the rotation, uh, the overall location, the scale of this particular HDRI image. So that is what it is used for. But for now, I think this is quite okay. I like the current location it is. So we're going to close that and go back to setting up our shaders. So we have the light path node. We want to add two background nodes, right? So background, this one here, copy that and paste it, put it over here. And to connect all of this together, we are going to be adding a mix shader, right? Add a mix shader right there. So this is how we are going to connect it. Connect your environment texture to the first background, right? And control and transfer uh your first background node to the first mix shader over here, right? Once you have done that, we want to connect our second background to the second shader and then come over here and connect our light path in camera to our mix shader, right? Once you have done that, you want to connect everything into our surface, and that is going to give us the lighting we want. I think this is looking quite interesting, right? This is looking quite good. Now we have our white environment with the information of, if you look here, you will see that you notice that you can actually see the information, the sun, the ray of the sun, the cloud, you can actually see the information of HDRI, but we have a very clear environment, a very white environment that we can play with, which is also lighting up our scene, right? So the next thing we want to do is try to match this backdrop. Let's go to um, um, object, right? It already has a BSDF. So basically try to match it. Or what we can do is go back to our world, come here to our color and try to move this up to, to be perfectly white, just to match it up a little bit better. And, that is all for our world shaders. Now we want to go back now and start using our aerial lights. I want to go ahead now and start using our aerial lights. So now we want to go ahead and start using our aerial lights. To do this, we are going to be using the 3-point lighting system, which involves the key light, which is the main light source that illuminates the subject. We have the fill light, a secondary light source that fills in the shadows created by our key light. And then we have a backlight, which is the light that separates our character from the background, right? So to get started, I want to change this to the shader and this to the render view so we can be able to monitor what we are doing from here, right? Let's take this down because we don't really need it anymore and try to move this up and zoom out, right? Good. So the first thing we want to do is add in our key light, right? So Shift A. So Shift A to bring our add, add light. We can add our area light, right? And once that is in there, we want to move it, rotate it on the x-axis 90-degree. And when we do that, we want to move it back, right? Rotate it on the z-axis 45-degree, right? Move that right about here, right? Let's move it to intersect the character, right? Move it closer. So this looks good. Let's scale it up a little bit, right? And increase our brightness to about 100. And as you can see, we have a very bright light showing on the side of our character, right? We just need to probably, you know, go back to our world shader, just to give a little bit of, uh, you know, space for our studio light to do a little bit of work. Let's reduce this strength, the strength of our HDRI. Let's reduce it to about 0.6, right? This is going to make exactly, can you see? The environment is a little bit darker and it gives the lighting more opportunity to be, viewed properly, viewed better. Now that we have done that, we want to duplicate this light, right? Right? Move it over here and rotate it on the Z axis over like this. We want to move it a little better. Rotate on the Z axis to face our character. I also like to scale, to make the light a little different. Can scale on the Y axis, on the X axis rather, make this a more, make this a more tiny light. All right, make it a smaller light, right? And then as you can see, that looks a little bit different. I can scale it down a little bit and then move it up just to fill up the dark places from our fill light. Also, we can also reduce the intensity to about 50, right? Because you don't need it to be too overwhelming. And reduce that to about 50 And then maybe what else can we do? I think that is good. That is good. Then what we need to do right now is to go ahead and add our backlight. So Shift A, light, area light. Um, Rotate it on the axis, right? Rotate it upward, and then we want to move it back. Move it back. Move it to the side a little bit, and rotate it on the z-axis to face our character. We want to scale it up a little, and then scale it on the z-axis, right? Scale x-axis a little bit, right? Now that we have that, we want to position it properly to give us the effect we want. G, position it just like this, right? You don't want it too close to the ground, otherwise it gives us this effect. So we might want to G, go up, right? Move it off of the ground, and then rotate it downwards, right? Now we want to change this particular light to red, and then increase the intensity to 100. Let's start with 100. Ooh, that's a lot. So another thing is, I think the light is a little bit um too small. So we might need to scale it on the x-axis more, right? So that I can catch this side. As you can see, that's a lot better now. It's catching this side of the shoulder even better, right? Now what we need to do is copy this and paste it. G, move it to this side and rotate on the z-axis again, right, to the other side. And we want to change this one to blue, right? We want to change this light to blue. So now, as you can see, we have a very nice transition between the side and this other side of our character. So we can just try to now position them better to have an even better effect. So I'll position them, move them closer, a little bit closer, so we can sell that effect of a nice backlight, right? Like this, G, and move it closer. So the idea of a better backlight. So let me go back to camera. So now that we have that, what we need to do now is export and see the result of what we have been doing so far. So let's go ahead and export it. Let's render image. So thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, you can drop them in the comment section and I will reply to them as soon as possible. You can also drop topics you would like me to cover in the comment section and I will make videos about them. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next video.